Hey all, Sir Penguin here, and welcome back to 2v2 team games at the top level of the ranked ladder. Uh, we are looking now at a 2v2 on Hidden Valley. Again, I may have said this before, but a map that I'm not particularly fond of, but that I think we could see some interesting team game matchups occur on. So, let's get started here. On team one, starting in the bottom right, we have Taekub playing as Jeanne d'Arc, and it's going to be in the green. Next to Taekub, in that little pocket area behind those trees in the middle of this map, we've got Yo, or Y01120508. We're probably just going to call them the English player for the course of this game, or Y. Doing some, basically a classic teammate matchup here. You've got Jeanne d'Arc with England, just like the French and England matchup that we used to see in 2v2s every single day. So we got that coming out on this map now. On the other side, on team two, we've got Dinky King playing as the French. He's going to be in yellow. So we got more French out here. I like to see the French versus Jeanne d'Arc shenanigans. There's a lot of that on the team's ladder. Just always a lot of France and Jeanne d'Arc on the team ladder in general. So we're going to see quite a bit of this. Put on that early aggression. Put on some defense too, because his teammate in teal, Bread, is going to be playing as the Ayubids. He's going to want to get a fast castle. Not going to want to hang around in Feudal Age for too long here. Just going to get nice and set up. And then I think this kind of works in a similar way that the English Jeanne d'Arc matchup works, except you get this faster castle age, which means you get units like Ghulams and the Camel Lancers out to deal with Jeanne d'Arc and things like that. Alrighty. So the thing about this map is, you know, you've got this lane in the middle that can't be accessed. Stuff always spawns here. Look, we have a berry patch here. So no berries are going to be on the left side where they could be, potentially. The relic, obviously. So there's always like one relic in here, and then the sacred site. So there's no sacred victories unless the chop through occurs and it goes long. I haven't seen that in many games, though, and it doesn't really happen all that often. So we're not going to see Delhi on this map very often, unless it's me playing, because all I can play is Delhi. All jokes aside, this map lends itself to lane fighting. You end up with a lot of 1v1 action on each side. We're going to try to follow that while these teams sort of duke it out here. Y gonna go with the Council Hall for England. No surprises there. Next to the School of Cavalry for Jeanne. Gonna get longbows and those knights out nice and early for the 2v2. Meanwhile, across the way, Dinky King, also no surprises. School of Cavalry coming out. I don't think we're gonna see the Chamber of Commerce for a long time yet. Sorry, chat, or YouTube. As much as we all want to see those games, just doesn't seem like it is going to be happening anytime soon. And up on here, we've got the Eco Wing going into the growth. Okay, so it gets the extra villagers, and the orchards will produce more food. This is nice. Doesn't have to waste that opening age. I say waste, but it's such a good tech on the camel raiders, on the desert raiders, because he's got a knight ally, and I kind of like that. I like you're so close to your ally. Why not go for the more greedy play? Get some extra villagers out. Increase your berry yields. And, you know, there's a few extra berries on this map, and maybe he can expect... Nah, his teammate already put him in on there. But he's got some berries on the front of his base that he can fight for if he manages to take those. So, Bread getting started here with that Ayubid play. Gonna go into the stone, so it's gonna be... Are we gonna see tower emplacements, or is this for a TC? Get to see. This is a pretty widely spaced out build, I want to say, for Ayubids, but here we are. Meanwhile, in the back of the other base, Scout trying to push these deer apart. Dinky King just being a little annoying here, making Taekub's villagers gotta work for it, gotta walk for the deer. Gonna do the same, it would seem, for Y at the bottom, but Y's already on the farms. Not even gonna really matter. Yeah, he's just gonna ride on past. Top scout burning away at the mine. But again, nothing crazy going on just yet. That being said, nope, yeah, nothing crazy going on just yet. I don't even really have any knights out. No military kind of on the field getting kills just yet. Here comes green though. Tekub trying to get some harassment. Gonna harass the stone. Try to stop a second TC out of France. Although Dinky King just goes back to the food. Says, "I'm gonna." Oh, he makes spears. He's just gonna play this defensively. Both players on spears. Again, not a ton of stone here. So just slow gathering stone. Bread's gonna have a fairly late second TC for Ayubids, but does that mean he also... Interesting. Lot on wood though, so maybe he's timed this just right. He is still making military to defend. The Jean push as knights come in, trying to push him off the stone. He's got to pull back. He's gonna still build that stable though. Try to get some desert raiders or horsemen out. Lose a Ville on that wall. The spears pushing it back. Knights trying to wrap around now, actually. Got a fight on the bottom side as well. Longbows probably going into a knight with their spears. Joan shows up as well. She can get some XP from these walls. No, walls don't give XP. Spears zoning this aggression out. Nice defense by Dinky King and Bread here. Trying to reduce the damage. You lose a Ville, but it's almost inevitable with these French knights riding around. And now with Joan's support, even more annoying and inevitable. Only spears here as the English longbows show up for some action. What did we have? It was a scout that engaged those archers earlier. So we are seeing knights now that the longbows have shown up. Dinky King just going, oh man, like the stone, the TC, not gonna happen. Actually, he does get the stone though, so wait. No, he does get the TC. I'm blind as a bat. He gets double TC here. And now he starts making the knights. I like this because you can get a really nice strong eco. Double stable coming out with the School of Cavalry. So gonna have plenty of knights to challenge this. So long as England doesn't come in with a big spear mass, which doesn't look like they are yet, the knights should have free reign with horsemen. Okay, going into horsemen. Camel raiders now, or desert raiders now, also coming in. This knight gonna get picked off. Nope. Longbow's gonna put some damage on it though. That's a little pin prick with each shot. Archers coming out for Dinky King as well. Nice archer knight France combo. Will be helpful against all those longbows, and honestly to snipe out Jean if you can get away with it. Longbows ramming up now, so Y gonna go for a ram rush here. We're only at the 8-minute mark as this ram starts to come up and the army is coming into attack. You got horsemen coming out for Dinky King as he's off his gold now. This push preventing gold income, gonna prevent knight production, so he only gets one knight out before building double stable. He's gonna have to rely on horsemen for the time being to defend this. Not ideal given the strength of Jean's knights with her support and the longbows. Longbow's going to be able to pick off anything that doesn't have quite enough armor, although the horsemen will be able to counter it if there's no support here. Now, villagers going down under the TC. Pops those back inside, and this push is still coming. They're gonna take down a stable potentially here. That ram just picks away at it. No counter push coming now. Dinky King and Bread being very patient here, as you should be. Keep this from doing too much damage, and the archer fire coming in now. There's one building down. Dinky King and Bread fall back, but another ram coming up for England. Right, things slow down just a bit here. Why gonna be able to get some income? Let's see what the incomes look like. Bread's eco is very strong on the food, but Tekub's gonna swing over here with the knights and put some pressure there. John and the knights burning down that stable. Jean's gonna get the XP for it. Let's see where she's sitting at. She hasn't gotten too much. There really hasn't been a ton of kills in her presence, especially. And a third ram coming up. This is turning into a full ram rush, which is smart. You've spotted the TCs, the double TCs out of both your opponents. They don't quite have enough units to hold this. That being said, your attack is now on a timer. If you don't get these 3 rams to push through, especially in a 2v2, this Ayubid player going to become really dangerous. France going to be a little less of a danger with both the stables now going down as the School of Cavalry is going to drop to the rams, and there's nothing that Dinky King and Bread can currently do about it as they wait to build up. Bread, meanwhile, looking like he's just absolutely powerhouse on the food. Where is he getting all this food? Oh, the sheep and the deer under his TCs. Why, meanwhile, getting all that farm eco for England, and the triple ram going for the landmark TC. Dinky King says enough is enough. I'm gonna toss some bills in here. These longbows are just hanging out under my TC, but there are 3 rams, and if you don't do anything about this, that 1 TC down. Although as France, having that, losing your main TC isn't as bad as losing like your additional TCs. You can rebuild this just for the wood cost. That's gonna go down as he tries to burn down the rams now. The repairs coming in on the back, pushing back the forces with the army. Jean goes down in that fight as this army has now massed up quite a bit. Dinky King and Bread building up enough to hold the longbow night attack. Well held, good defense. The TC stays online, it looks like. No, maybe it didn't. No, it stayed online, it stayed online. Wow. Just gets the TC, pushes the ram back. And yeah, Tekub and Y are gonna have to go back to the drawing board for this one. Across the way, some horsemen and camel desert raiders kind of moving out, looking like they were trying to put some pressure onto England. Not sure if anything came of that. Let's take a look at the bases here as Y and Tekub are only on single TCs because of the early aggression. This is going to be a problem now as they've been stopped by Dinky King and Bread, who now have free reign. I mean, you can make so many units on the back of double TC. You can age up. You have a lot of options. And if the enemy comes in with another big push, you got units too. And I think they're pretty confident now, Dinky King and Bread. These Bills exposed to a night raid though. Nah, he pops back into the TC just in time. Loses 1. Fortunately, the 7 TC switch does cause some problems in terms of survivability against these early raids. It's really made Knights valuable in team games especially. Like, maybe even more so than ever, which is saying something. These archers just gonna have to kite away these Knights, and you know, you're just not gonna get too much value out of each shot. Take out the scout, yeah. He's gonna get 1 or 2 Knights with the archers alone, but this is not enough. Jean back on the battlefield on the other side. Looks like Bread says, all right, let me clear this out for you. But more longbows, more rams. Y and Tekub have fully dedicated themselves to a push. If this doesn't work, what do you do? If this one fails, I guess you gotta get a lot of bills. You gotta get a lot of damage to make this worth it now. He's got idle time, which is good for that longbow push. If you can get idle time, maybe even house Dinky King here. Nah, Dinky King's fine. He's built houses on the back. He knows what's coming. More stables coming on the back. Doesn't want to bother with the School of Cavalry because he knows another push is coming. Lose the bills on the food too. 2 go down. All right. He's lost quite a few villagers just on these sheep carcasses, but doesn't really have much of another choice in terms of food. Having to go to farms and deer on the back, and the deer are almost gone. Double ram now onto the main TC, and those knights pushing in. This is just classic 2v2 shenanigans. One player just takes the brunt of a just relentless attack. Just like people hate the longbow ram rush and sing in solos, like imagine it but with knights. You know, that's all this is. And boy, is it frustrating. And all you can rely on is your teammate coming in with a big enough force alongside your own units, of course, to defend this. You got to be self-sufficient in these situations, but you do have to rely on your teammate to come in and provide assistance. You can only hold for so long. And here comes Bread. Big mass of units for Team 2 here as they prepare to counter. Spears, Horsemen, Desert Raiders. Gonna ram down the main TC. That's gonna go down. Team 2 gonna have to figure out their eco here, but look at this massive units Team 2 has. It's just a lot of units, and Team 1's not gonna have enough to hold this back. Longbow's gonna try to pick off those spears. Horsemen gonna get pushed back by the knights, and Jean with the heal there, covering knights and nearby units. Gets onto the longbows, and this is, again, it's too much for Takub and Y to keep pushing, but it looks like they're trying to preserve their units and get some value out of this. The TC, landmark TC has gone down for Dinky King, so I say get some value. They really have gotten a lot of value out of this push, and Y now looking toward Castle Age with that eco, with that macro. Lots of XP for Joan. She goes up to Knight in the Feudal Age. Things are going to get dangerous here as she drops Jean's champions. Looks like she already has. They fight. Did I miss? Must have missed them. Taking out more villagers on the front of the TC. These sheep are like, if you're a villager, you get assigned to these sheep. You tell your family and you go, they'll take care of us after. They'll take care of you all if something happens to me. That's this job. That's the chances of dying if you have to go onto those front sheep. You write a letter that you expect extra insurance that you'll be taken care of at this if you have to work that front side. Trying to get a tower on the bottom, but it's not going to go up. Gonna have to cancel. Joan gets the XP for the cancel. Even on that second one, which I didn't realize I didn't think they did any. Is it just if you cancel any building near Joan, she gets XP? Sounds like Joan. If you ask me. I don't have too many thoughts about Joan, except that some of the abilities just seem a little off in some ways. They're just some. Like the whole killing villagers in the tower with the area of attack thing. Now this fight is popping off. Not enough spears for Bread to kill all these knights, but there are a lot of archers back here, and those French archers gonna cause some problems. A lot of longbows on the back, and just frankly not enough units on the defense once again. Double ram, not gonna let that TC come back online. Dinky just gonna have to rely on the second TC now as his main TC. And all the fighting is just happening right here in Dinky King's base. Just gonna use archers to pick out the enemy archers, but there's just enough knights here that Dinky has no choice but to do this dance. This is just classic 2v2s. I love the action of 2v2s. It gets frustrating on the defense if you're not a French or an English player. But boy, are these fun games to fight and to play in. It's just stressful. So many yellow bodies, yellow villagers. going down. French villagers are just scattering the fields today. Why not gonna go up just yet, but Bread, meanwhile, going up with the reinforcements. So we're gonna see more Desert Raiders coming out for Bread. What's going on over here? Raids on the back, on the food of the Jean player. That can get frustrating here for the Jean player. And the villagers actually running toward the army of the attackers here. So that sucks for food. Taekub gonna be in a little bit of trouble in terms of food here, but so is Dinky King, as they're both trying desperately to get some knights out. Bread has hit that Castle Age much later than you'd expect. We have a 20-minute Castle Age as the first Castle Age in the game. I love these feudal fights. Gotta love these feudal fights. So many Desert Raiders out now to fight this. Desert Raiders, not the most effective unit against longbows, but they're really useful against the French Knights. So a little bit of a trade-off here. I'm gonna have to use the archers and the French Knights to fight the longbows. We do now, though, have the Camel Lancers who will be effective against everything that's on this field, except now the English Spears, who have created quite a mass. Veteran upgrades coming in for the Desert Raiders. Probably see some veteran upgrades for the Spearmen soon enough. Not letting this TC come up again, and this tower not going to survive. Not long for this world, certainly, as the Knights burn it down. And he's going to go for those 5 fills. Oh my gosh, Dinky King has lost so many units, relying desperately now on Bread to use this Castle Age to the team's advantage. Can Bread now pull this off with the support of Dinky King's damaged but still somewhat numerous army? The Camel is going to be so good here against these Knights. This is not going to be good for Jean. Yeah, the Camels are worth a lot of XP, but I mean, she's going to be a way away. Oh, getting close to that tier 4. But goes down to the Camel pressure, and we have more raids now on the villagers on the boar. And Taekub and Y get pushed back again by Bread. Bread has just really turned this around with a good Castle Age timing. The Camels run straight into the Spears, though. The Spears, no, Bread! Don't do it to him. He's got more Camels on the back, but England has now hit Castle Age as well. The bodies littering the field of this one. There's still some Spears and Knights left, but look at the Camel Lancers coming in on the back. That's the momentum shift as the reinforcements gonna push England back. England, though, gonna have some options now. It's gonna be a King's Palace. It's gonna catch up with that. Get double, 6 barracks is out and should see some crossbow production soon enough. Taekub desperate for food now, as food has been secured by Bread on the opposite side, and the fighting continues in the middle. Bread moving out with a strong force here. Nice push here. Bread putting in the work, and Dinky King following it up the best that he can after taking all that damage. There's a lot of English stuff here, though. You can't push in. So the momentum has shifted, but a lot of stuff going down. Joan just a tiny bit of XP away from Imperial, or I say Imperial, away from a tier 4. These raids are not over yet, as France is now in on the villagers. We've got Royal Knights hitting where they can. With their little brown caps, of course. What now can Y and Teku do to shut this aggression down? It's a lot of stuff, a lot of armored stuff, and villagers going down in Y's farm line. We've got veteran spearmen. That's going to cause problems for this push, because this push is just the Ulams and the mounted units. Why? Don't let it happen. Why is microing too much on the other side? We've all been here. Oh my gosh. There's space in this TC. Oh no. The way that this shifts, the Knights have turned this around by taking all the food of the Castle Age player. Just if you had put him in the TC, this wouldn't have been a problem. Yes to GG and team. Oh my gosh, Dinky King and Bread hang on for long enough to switch the momentum, kill the food villagers, and that's gonna have to be it as they call it a day, and the Knights are just riding rampant around their base in exchange. It's that 2TC survival mode, and we will see more in the future, I am sure, in 2v2s. I'll see you next time.